Imagine waking up one morning only to discover that you've lost everything: your home, your car, your security. This is the harrowing reality facing millions in Ukraine as a new law reshapes the very fabric of their lives. Is digital control erasing basic personal freedoms? It's a stark question that echoes in the hearts of those targeted by recent legislation. More than 8 million citizens now find themselves at the mercy of automated systems that seem designed to strip them of their dignity. Under the guise of modernization and the adoption of European standards, Ukraine's recently enacted Law 11405 has transformed the executive service into a chilling digital overlord. Gone are the days when court orders safeguarded your hard-earned property. Instead, a single acknowledgement from a court can trigger an instant chain reaction, launching your assets into a black hole of confiscation. Once classified, a person's information immediately vanishes into a consolidated register maintained by banks and state authorities. The banks swiftly block access to funds, while government agencies deny any further mobility of your assets. If you've ever considered selling or transferring property, think again. Even the basic act of attempting to pass your vehicle on to a loved one could accelerate your involvement with the executive service, who are poised to snatch it at will. This system isn't just about significant debts. Individuals who have missed trivial payments or violated minor military regulations are being caught in the same dragnet. Imagine being unable to make a utility payment and suddenly finding yourself on a list that jeopardizes your entire existence. The law has effectively created a climate of fear, where every missed payment could spiral into an avalanche of legal repercussions. Since the war, the number of people affected has exploded from 1.5 million to over 8 million. It isn't corrupt elites on this list, it's ordinary folk, those who struggled to scrape together enough for basic utilities in war-torn communities. They are the faces behind the statistics, often living in crumbling buildings, just trying to survive. At a glance, the law may present itself as a noble effort to streamline processes, but underneath, it's a masked shift towards systematic surveillance and control. With every detail monitored, society is being driven to an unprecedented point of vulnerability. Will enough voices rise to challenge a system designed to oppress? The echoes of silence loom large. As each day passes, the grip tightens. Who will break the chains of digital oppression? The clock is ticking, and the fear of losing everything is palpable. This isn't just a legal issue, it's a fight for identity, humanity, and the fundamental right to exist free from fear of surreptitious systems that disregard the value of a life. Imagine this: in a nation scarred by shadows, where the scent of damp walls and flickering lights haunts unpaid bills, ordinary folks once lived with hope amid ruins. Before the war's fury raged, about 1.5 million souls faced this grim list. Now, every week, that number swells like a relentless tide. No elite moguls here, no grand corruption. Just everyday Ukrainians, those who couldn't scrape together enough for utility bills, for dirty water, for gas in crumbling homes. They linger in the dust, their debts as small as a whisper, yet powerful enough to shatter lives. Who among us dares whisper that debts should erase homes and hopes overnight? Picture the shock, the gasp, as even minor infractions drag good people into this automated abyss. Some skipped administrative fines, others faced penalties for wartime plans gone awry. Now, under Law 14105, a single court nod transforms them into pawns. The state's machinery whirs into motion, cold and unyielding, ready to pounce without rhyme or reason. Boom, the court's verdict hits, and suddenly, you're not just labeled a debtor, you're ensnared in a digital web so tight it chokes the breath from your lungs. Ministries align like hungry wolves, barring every escape. Banks freeze your accounts with a digital snap, the metallic clang of locks echoing in your mind. Authorities slash your freedoms, sell that apartment? Give the car to your kin? Impossible, as if phantom chains bind every action. They cloak it in fancy terms, streamlining enforcement. But feel the betrayal, the sting of tears on cheeks, for this is no efficiency, it's a blistering attack on families. Where a single unpaid debt morphs into a legal noose around your neck. Housing slips away like sand through fingers, all under the guise of European reforms. Yet, across Europe, losing a roof over communal arrears? Unthinkable heresy, a brazen theft of rights. Who penned this nightmare? Deputies clad in power's cloak, Andrei Matavalets, Yevgeny Kravchuk, Volodymyr Ivanov, and Yevgeny Brager.
Brager, remember his scandalous quip?
He told a frail pensioner to hawk her precious dog to cover meager debts. Now, he champions a bill that stripes away apartments and autos with equal cruelty. The symbolism burns: sell the dog first, then the home, the wheels, until nothing remains but echoes of laughter turned to sobs. Digital marvels and lofty standards provide the shroud, but the blade gleams sharp.
Officially, it's a noble chase: expedite judgments, heed European advice.
Decades ago, deputies leaned on Soviet dreams and programs like Ukraine, Family on a Throne, painting digital enforcement as utopia. But peel back the patina, and behold the thorn: unchecked power for executors, no oversight, no human voice.
A debt ruling becomes a mere button press, unleashing a storm of seizures. Europe nods approval?
Hardly. Real European laws guard property fiercely, not evicting souls over a leaky faucet or a gas meter spun by time's neglect.
And for the mighty? Exemptions slither in like serpents in Eden.
The law carves safe havens. Oligarchs dodge the debtor's brand, their yachts and mansions untouchable.
Wealthy escape, hiding behind engineered loopholes. Banks owe millions?
They slide free if debts nibble under 50 million for mega institutions, 20 million for the rest.
But a grunt in a war-torn shack? 1,000 hryvnias seals your doom. No mercy for the destitute, yet riches glide unscathed.
Even worse, murky additions emerge, notches for executive decrees on priceless assets sans court auth, just whim. Notaries must vet all dealings against the debtor registry, reporting like snitches to the state. Brokers hawk properties, slapping liens without fuss, cementing a world where poor tumble hard, rich soar free.
This isn't progress, it's a digital divide, a caste system masked as justice. Fast forward to reality's bitter crunch.
Under this bill's shadow, a lingering communal debt suffices to blacklist you.
One court sting, and the automatons awake, seizing goods without pause.
Your home's on the block before you sigh, accounts padlocked with invisible irons. No transacting vehicles, no bequeathing dreams, executors intervene swift as vipers. Over 8 million already drown in this pool, countless among them clutching to meager lives.
Rising costs, absent livelihoods each gaunt, flickering bulb risks eviction.
Experts warn, around 160,000 hryvnias bruise trouble.
A debt on a skeletal house, vacant and howling? Or unpaid light in a darkened flat? Blacklisted, and arrests slam down like thunder. Union leader Ola Popenko voices the dread: communal arrears will uproot households faster, sans mercy. Rare before, now epidemic. Picture Kiev's prime pads, $50,000 to $70,000, now fair game. Imagine rural floods of seized retreats, the creak of doors yielding to strangers. What horrors lie next? As silverware rattles on tables and distant sirens wail, will you awaken to find your life digitized into oblivion? With debts eyeing every family, how long until the knocks come for us all? The tension coils tighter. Will resistance rise, or will the system swallow without a trace? Imagine this: in a world where one wrong click could strip away your home, your ride, your very lifeline, Ukraine is rolling out Law 14105, a so-called reform that's actually a digital noose around ordinary folks. The deputies sold it as speeding up court executions, following some mythical European path. They referenced analogies to digital fast lanes, hinting at Ukraine moving like a speed train. It was all about streamlining enforcements through tech. But peel back the layers, and the true agenda emerges like a dark shadow in a storm, granting the executive branch unchecked power, no oversights, no personal say-so. Court rulings turn into mere buttons pressed by machines, launching seizures at will. Do you hear the faint beep of automated doom, feel the cold grip of unseen control tightening around your dreams? It's packaged as sage European advice, yet no real European rule lets folks lose homes over unpaid utilities. What Ukraine hails as tech leaps forward, Europe slams as blatant property theft violations. Law 14105 at first blush seems harmless enough, right? Just another tweak for fair play. Yet beneath the facade, it's a trapdoor rigged for the average Joe, while loopholes let the elite escape unscathed. It's like an illusionist's trick: waves of lawmaker doublespeak, crafted to favor the powerful, leaving you gasping for air in the quicksand.
Take transportation rules, army vehicles get exemptions, they say, for security moves.
Translation?
Ruling party bigwigs can swoosh in, commandeer those rides under guise of protection, while ordinary taxpayers watch theirs vanish.
No sales.
No freedom, just seizing for the greater good.
And for bankers tied to state organs? Debts under 50 million hryvnias might keep them off the blacklist. Non-system banks get a 20 million grace. But simple Ukrainians?
1,000 hryvnias unresolved, and boom, the blacklist beckons, swallowing your world whole. Worst of all, gaping voids riddle this law.
Unclear ties link notary shifts to property sales during seizures explained away as vague patriotic boosts.
And get this brutal add-on, executives can slap freezes on notary papers sans court nod, just on their say-so.
Depositories must vet clients against the debtor's registry, snitching info to state and enforcers instantly.
Smell the betrayal, taste the bitterness, a caste system born, where the downtrodden drown in debt's abyss, elites float free, laughing at your fate. Picture it, in pre-war times, 1.5 million bore the burden.
Now,
over 8 million Ukrainians, a staggering third of the populace, teeter on the edge, day by day, week by week, the numbers spike. Not tycoons or crooks with million-dollar holes, but everyday souls, those who couldn't cover utilities in war-ravaged spots, skips on tiny fines, delays from no light or water.
One court stamp marking you a debtor?
Instant lockdown, the state machine awakens, like a predator's growl, banks freezing funds, notaries barred from deeds, MVD refusing vehicle registrations.
Try selling that apartment? Forget it. Gift the car? Blocked. Transfers? Slammed. Even re-registering ends in enforcers seizing your wheels for quick arrest. Sensory horror unfolds, the metallic clang of locked accounts echoing emptiness, the acrid stench of lost security fading away.
Deputies from the Servant of the People Party sculpted this nightmare, mind Andrei Motovilivtsek, Yevgeny Kravchuk, Volodymyr Ivanov, and notorious Yevgeny Brahar, the one who once callously urged a pensioner to sell her dog for debt payments. Now, this guy's pen fuels a bill evicting folks from homes and cars over petty sums.
Symbolic, isn't it? House, car, dog, what's next in this chain of human erosion, masked as noble reform? Hoops of supposed gains lure, faster adjudications, matching Western vibes. But closer look?
It's a power grab, automating takedowns without consent.
And here's the insidious twist. Critics dig into precedents like Soviet echoes in Ukraine's forward program, yet the core deceit? These reforms aren't unity builders, they're divide creators, weaponizing digital oversight against the vulnerable. Who profits from this rigged game, where communal slips trigger total ruin, but high-level financiers dodge with millions owed? Feel the rage building, the injustice searing like hot coals. Does this sound like progress, or a calculated assault on your freedom? Cliffhanger, as millions stare into the abyss of foreclosure flames licking at their foundations, what's the unseen fulcrum about to flip this catastrophe? Will voices rise to shatter the code before livelihoods crumble like fragile glass? Stay tuned, as darkness hints at a shocking unraveling no one saw coming.
In our previous discussion, we uncovered how this so-called reform hides behind noble ideals like patriotism, while granting the executive service unchecked authority to seize assets, even valuable papers, without a judge's nod. Just a swift move from their side, and poof, your belongings could vanish. Imagine waking in the dead of night, heart pounding from a nightmare where your front door creaks open without warning. Sweat beads on your skin as the cold grip of fear tightens around your chest. But this isn't a dream, it's the chilling reality for millions in Ukraine under Law Project 14105. What if a tiny unpaid bill turned your life upside down, stripping away everything in an instant? Staggering, right? This law forces citizens and businesses to scan everyone against the debtor's registry, spilling secrets to the state and executors without hesitation. The result? A twisted system where the broke get slammed hard, while the wealthy glide free. Ordinary folks lose homes over communal fees, but banks owing fortunes evade the list entirely. Not progress, this is a cruel digital divide, pitting class against class in a silent war. Flashback to that humid summer evening in 2019, before the storm. The distant rumble of thunder echoed through the streets, mingling with the sharp scent of ozone after rain. You sipped coffee on your balcony, feeling the cool tiles under bare feet, laughter bubbling as neighbors shared stories. Utilities seemed minor then, just a flicker of unpaid light bills. How naive. Now, those trivial debts haunt like ghosts. At the heart of this nightmare, Law 14,105 flips the script for anyone with lingering communal arrears. One court verdict declares you a debtor, and boom, the machine awakens. Apartments hit the market fast, no delay for bankruptcies. Banks freeze accounts with a digital clasp. Notaries block sales. The MBD Ministry of Internal Affairs refuses vehicle registrations. Try reselling a car? Instant arrest, handed over to executors like stolen prey. Over 8 million Ukrainians already linger in this blacklist. Hundreds of thousands struggle with basic bills, as inflation claws higher without mercy. Each missed payment now risks homelessness. Experts warn, 160,000 hryvnias, about a year's utilities in a wrecked home, suffices to join the doomed. A neglected apartment without lights? A blown-out building where echoes of lost voices linger? That's enough. Once blacklisted, executors pounce, seizing goods and slapping them on sale without mercy. Oleg Papenko, head of the Communal Debtors Union, voices the outrage. Those words drip with urgency. People will forfeit apartments over unpaid bills swiftly, mercilessly. Before this, such seizures were rarities. Now, they're automated horrors. In Kiev, prime pads fetch $50,000 to $70,000. Picture rural villages flooded with desperate sellers. Lawyers cry foul, spotting a gateway for graft and raiding schemes. One sinister cheat slips through, turning communities to ash. What if this law unleashes an even darker twist, targeting families who've already endured war's wrath? Will you become the next victim, forfeiting your haven to a cold, indifferent code? Or does this twisted farce hide an unthinkable cheat that humiliates the powerful first? Stay tuned, because the storm is brewing worse. Once upon a time in Kiev, the reality of modern life began to change dramatically. Even the most coveted apartments could end up costing between $50,000 and $70,000. The chilling reality set in when citizens learned of the impending law, a law that threatened their very existence. Jurists warned that this system would create fertile ground for corruption and exploitation. Everyone knew that as the government turned to its citizens for debts, innocent homeowners could find themselves ensnared in a nightmare of bureaucratic sabotage. Previously, such schemes were few and far between, but with this new legislation, the floodgates opened. As the authorities waved a deceptive flag of progress, citizens were left bewildered. Was this truly a step toward freedom, or a step toward deeper control disguised as reform? The digital landscape was shifting, and in its wake, countless lives were upended, as if by mechanical puppetry. There was a strange duality at play, all was proclaimed to be for the people, yet the very essence of personal property was being stripped away. Those in power touted their actions as an advancement toward European integration, cloaking oppressive measures in the language of progress and transparency. Yet, for Ukrainians, the truth was stark: properties were being seized without due process, masked beneath a facade that twisted modernity with archaic controls. The unsettling irony was that while European guidelines typically shielded citizens from unjust seizures, the new Ukrainian framework embraced an opposite approach. The digital transformation that had been heralded as liberation instead morphed into a dystopian reality. Judges and systems collaborated seamlessly to dismantle the lives of families, breaking down homes with nothing more than a swift stroke of a keyboard. Imagine the echoing sound of a gavel, a bitter reminder that control was fully automated. All the while, behind the scenes, powerful officials decided who was worthy of protection and who would be laid bare to the relentless machinery of the state. In this grim narrative, corruption wasn't merely a byproduct, it was the very engine driving the new order. The state, in partnership with banks and other institutions, acted almost like mercenaries, pulling strings with impunity. Any citizen, regardless of standing, became vulnerable to rapid dispossession. The laws, while painted in progressive hues, represented only a deeper form of digital subjugation. Citizens could find themselves stripped of their dignity and homes at the hands of a faceless bureaucracy.
What lay ahead was uncertain.
As one man benefited from the law, others fell victim to its cruel reach. Justice became a one-sided game, manipulated by those within the elite circles who orchestrated the rules. Thus, the cycle of exploitation deepened, transforming countless lives into numbers on a digital ledger. What began as a promise of prosperity turned into a suffocating grip, ensuring that for every step taken toward reform, another step was lost to the shadows of injustice. How long could this facade of security persist before it finally crumbled under the weight of its own deceit? The people of Ukraine held their breath, waiting for the final verdict in this twisted tale of power, control, and desperation.
In the last chapter, we witnessed a cruel irony.
The European Union demands Ukraine root out corruption.
Yet, this very law, numbered 5415, breeds it instead. Now, corrupt officials pick favorites. They decide whom to crush and whom to skip.
Even powerful figures dodge the blacklist entirely. Imagine waking up in a cold, dim apartment, the stale scent of mildew clinging to the walls. Your breath fogs the air, mixing with the distant hum of traffic outside.
How did it come to this? Reformers claim this is progress, draped in Europe's digital facade.
But peer closer. Beneath the glossy veneer lurks a mask of repression. They call it Digital Europe, a utopian march toward efficiency. In truth, it's a shadow of tyranny, where debts trigger unseen chains. Suddenly, a shocking revelation: President Zelensky himself warns against this law as a top threat, a tool stripping homes from decent folks over unpaid utilities.
Yet, the government pushes ahead, twisting words to justify the grab. Rhetorical question burns: why do they prioritize victory announcements while citizens lose their shelters? The twist? This isn't civilization or reform. It's unchecked power, a rigged game where the destitute surrender everything, and the elite slip through loopholes unscathed.
Ukraine transforms into a dystopia of 8 million trapped souls, each facing eviction without fault.
Lawyers expose corruption's foul grip, with raids and seizures hidden behind European standards. Simple bribes or backroom deals now dictate fates.
Awakened to this reality, under reform's cloak, thieves scheme to seize, sell, and divvy up assets.
Laughter echoes in smoky corridors where power brokers plot. Guard your awareness, it's the last shield against this onslaught.
The true horror unfolds in the finale. As the digital gears grind tighter, a scandal erupts. Officials, the architects of this farce, exploit it first. Their lavish homes stand untouched, while yours crumbles.
Who knew reformers would rob under to save themselves?
The cliffhanger looms, with the register swelling weekly. Will you be next? Uteri Control 292. Wake up to the stench of betrayal in your crumbling refuge.
Echoes of shattered dreams linger in every dusty corner. How did Ukraine descend into this nightmare? So-called reformers peddle robbery as reform, hiding plunder under Europe's banner.
Digital progress cripples the weak, enslaving millions in silent agony. President Zelensky slams it bluntly: this EU offensive threatens homes, snatching them for mere utility bills.
His words sting like icy wines through broken glass.
Yet, the regime charges on, claiming triumph over despair. Twist of the knife: citizens scramble to survive a nation rigged against them. The poor cling to scraps, while elites evade the snare.
Is this Europe's vision? Or a cynical scam, stripping flesh from bone?
This law unleashes corruption's dread whispers, lawyers warn.
Raids bloom into empires of theft.
8 million shiver in the shadows, bodies evicted for pennies owed, innocence irrelevant. Reforms mask schemes to pillage, barter, and distribute spoils.
The air thickens with racket, phones ringing, doors slamming shut forever.
Uncover the theft, knowledge shields your sanctuary. The epic end reveals it all. As the hacks unfold, a bombshell shatters illusions.
The lawmakers, champions of this charade, pocket exemptions first.
Their mansions gleam amid ruins.
Laughter from on high mocks your plight. Who imagined saviors turning bandits? Shocking question: with numbers skyrocketing, are you marked for theft? Will the shadows claim you next? The urge to flee surges, but resistance builds in the unknown ahead. Imagine this chilling scene: a family wakes up one peaceful morning, hearing the sharp knock of authorities at the door.
The smell of fresh coffee lingers in the air, but a cold shiver runs down their spines as they touch icy documents sealing their fate.
Have you ever thought that in a modern society, anyone could lose their home forever just because they couldn't pay a small utility bill? That nightmare is now real in Ukraine.
With communal debts piling up, millions stand on the edge of disaster. Picture the electronic systems ticking silently, like a predator in the shadows, ready to strike. Law 14105, voted through by the Rada, unleashes this horror. It brands ordinary people as debtors, then flips a digital switch.
No more warnings. Banks freeze accounts instantly.
Notaries shut down possessions like slamming a rusty gate.
The Ministry of Internal Affairs adds you to a blacklist.
Suddenly, you can't sell, give away, or even transfer your apartment or car. It's sold off under your feet, leaving emptiness where warmth once was.
How does it work?
Once a court calls you a debtor, the executive service springs to life. Connected to banks, notaries, and payment systems nationwide, it acts without pause.
Want to block a person's money? Done in a flash. Evict them from their property? Effortless in this new mode.
The verdict hits, and boom, the machine records it, blocking everything.
Feel the sting of digital handcuffs tightening. What about fighting back? Forgot about rights. The system automates confiscation, stripping away lives in one fell swoop. Official stance? Digitization and European reforms. Reality?
A brutal tool of control, turning Ukraine into a land where debts drag you into homelessness.
Over 8 million Ukrainians are in that registry already, a staggering third of the working population.
Many are simple folks hit by rising costs, unpaid fines, or neglected repairs in ruins.
Where did this cruelty come from?
The law's architects include deputies from the Servant of the People faction: Andrei Motovilivets, Yevgeny Kravchuk, Vladimir Ivanov, and Yevgeny Brager.
Remember Brager?
He once shockingly told a pensioner to sell their pet dog to pay debts. Now, he's pushing papers that let states seize homes and cars over the same issues.
Symbolic, isn't it? And what are we witnessing here? You might wonder if this is flawed. The deputies claim it's about speeding up court enforcement, following European tips. But peel back the layers of charming words, Ukraine facile teplane and Soviet echoes, and see the dark truth. It grants executive services unchecked power, no oversight, no human say. One decision labels you a debtor, and poof, properties vanish like smoke in the wind. Here's the twist that burns. In Europe, this violates rights; here, it's progress. For the powerful? Loopholes abound. Cars can be reissued without sales bans if for security. Bank CEOs escape scrutiny unless debts top 50 million hryvnia. Ordinary folk face ruin over petty sums. No exemptions for essentials like medical transfers. And visualize this injustice: poor people lose roofs over communal bills, while millionaires evade untouched. The executive can arrest assets on a whim, no court needed. Laws mandate checks on everyone. Feeding names to the state. It's a caste system in code: the destitute trapped, the elite free. Fast forward to Fallout. With Law 14105 active, a communal debt tosses you into the devourers list. The first sale demand? Your apartment goes on the block, accounts draw curtains shut. Notaries halt dealings, the MVD bars car registrations. Try selling or donating? The executive swoops in, seizing vehicles sharply. Smell the desperation in the air? Even tiny debts for lights, gas, or fines spell doom. Over 8 million suffer now, hunting thousands just scraping by as prices soar. Experts warn, 160,000 hryvnia in arrears, and you're marked. Think abandoned homes in war zones? A glitch without electricity? Banished. Oleg Papenko from the Communal Managers Union warns ominously. People will lose homes over plain debts, swiftly. Before, evictions were rare, now, normalized.
In Kiev, prized flats go for $50,000 to $70,000.
Imagine the chaos in villages ahead. This breeds perfect conditions for exploitation. But wait, the elephant in the room. Legal on paper, monstrous in effect. It humiliates the vulnerable, emboldens the corrupt. Ukraine morphs slowly, debts as weapons, families displaced. Will you stay silent, or will this outrage change things? And what dark surprise lies next?
The system grows weakly.
Who could be next? You?
Yes, perhaps you, if fate turns. Thus, a nation fractures, justice mocked, lives rented out like borrowed bread.
Yet, cracks appear. Whispers of resistance stir. Could this law tumble, exposing the veneer?
Stay tuned, as the fight begins.
But for now, the digital noose tightens. One heartbeat at a time. The end, or is it? A glimmer of hope flickers in the darkness, waiting to ignite. In a world teetering on the edge of digital control, what happens when your home and possessions can vanish at the blink of an eye?
Imagine a law fired into motion, extinguishing the light of millions.
With the introduction of Project 14105, Ukrainians now hover in a terrifying digital space where their property can be seized without notice.
This new reality transforms tangible lives into mere data points, seamlessly automated by a system that views humanity through a cold lens of efficiency. This isn't just a restructuring, it's a ruthless overhaul.
Authorities can block your bank account, and when that happens, it's like pulling the rug out from under your feet. Feeling financially stranded?
Welcome to the digital age where your identity can be stripped away in nanoseconds.
An ominous voice whispers, "Do you owe money?
You might as well sell your home." The whispers grow louder, revealing the unsettling truth: the state is watching.
Each court ruling now operates with chilling automation. It's a daunting reminder that your life is just a click away from being upended.
The moment a court deems you a hostage to debt, the gears of this digital dictatorship shift into motion. A mere phone call from the bank, and suddenly, your account is frozen.
What was once yours can be taken with simplistic ease, reflecting a dystopian nightmare masquerading as modern efficiency.
The ramifications stretch beyond individuals, ensnaring entire communities. Nearly 8 million people are trapped in this registry, decisions about their lives made by faceless algorithms. While the elite can craft loopholes to escape,
ordinary citizens are left vulnerable as their homes slip through their fingers.
The weight of the law tumbles down heavily on the shoulders of those who can't keep up with soaring costs, turning a communal debt dispute into a personal tragedy.
Now, these laws are depicted as noble reforms aimed at aligning with European standards, but delve deeper.
The elegance of the narrative disguises a more sinister intent: unyielding social control.
How does it feel to walk through your neighborhood knowing that at any time, someone could lose everything because of an unseen digital hand manipulating their fate?
The stench of injustice nears, and the clamor of desperation rises sharply.
In this chaotic dance of digits and decisions, the fundamental question lingers: are we still masters of our destiny? Or have we surrendered to a monstrous system that equates financial failure with deprivation?
With each passing day, Ukraine transforms into a realm where those without riches find their dreams crushed under the weight of bureaucracy, while the wealthy saunter away unscathed.
Can we afford to look away from this reality, or will we be the next moves in this unyielding chess game?